We will have town council for the town of Aurora and the Erie County Controller. Before we get to the candidates, I have some important announcements. This year on the ballot, in addition to the candidates, on the back side there will be 5 proposals for the constitutional amendments for the New York State Constitution. On our table here we have a brochure that was prepared by the State League. It has the explanation of each of the proposals, and it has some reasons for and against each one. It is very important. 2 of them affect voters very much, and they all are effective. The 5th proposal is only for New York City, but we all have an opportunity to vote on it. And that's that. And that leads me to the second announcement, which is that tomorrow night at 7 p.m., the League and several other not-for-profit organizations are hosting a webinar. We're calling it Our Future is on the Ballot, and it is an explanation and discussion of the 4 proposals that affect people in Western New York, or in most of the state. The link to the webinar is at our website, lwvbn.org. Another resource on the table for you to pick up is this handy guide to contacting local, state, and national elected officials. And it has all the addresses, phone numbers, and email for the officials that are currently serving. Please make sure you take one of these if you don't have one already. And that's also on the table. And the third item on the table is the list of all 39 early voting sites in Erie County. From October 23rd through 31st, you can vote at any one of these sites. Doesn't matter which site, any site. Ballots are printed out for each voter separately. And on weekdays, they are open from noon to 9 p.m., and on weekends from noon to 6 p.m. So if you think you might want to do early voting, and you might want to go outside of East Aurora to do it, here it is. And also it has the location in East Aurora. And the last handout we have over here is a palm card. It's a especially good resource if there is anyone who has any questions for the Board of Elections. Their phone number is on here. If you wish to or need to apply for an absentee ballot, you may use the online form through October 18. You may also either call the Board of Elections or go on their website and pick up the application to mail in, and it must be postmarked no later than October 26th. And the final thing on here is vote411.org. That is the League's online voters guide. And there are some candidates here who have not responded. I hope they do respond, because that's a place where you can compare the candidates' views on up to 5 issues. We don't do more than 5. We could do many, but we thought 5 is enough. So, without further ado, and by the way, it's fine to stay seated. I just thought to start off I should stand up. From here on in, I'll sit down. These are the ground rules for tonight. We permit no substitutes. There must be at least 2 candidates for any office here to participate. Presentations should be strictly confined to issues, not personalities. The order of opening statements was determined by drawing lots. Closing statements will be the reverse order. There will be our timekeepers are Judy Wiedemann and Allison Hyde. Judy, if you'd hold up the 30-second warning. And then we have a stop sign. And we expect candidates to finish the sentence that they see when the stop comes up. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. Candidates may not interrupt each other, and of course the fact that we're all sharing the same microphone makes that easier. It's almost as easy as using Zoom. Candidates may also not make any personal attacks to each other. The questions are being written, and Ellen Uma is collecting them. Candidates will have up to 1 minute to respond to each question. Did I do that already? And the questions that are coming in need to be worded so all candidates may answer them. We will screen them to make sure all candidates can answer them, and that they aren't redundant, and that they are appropriate. And questions will be asked of candidates in a rotating order. So candidates, if you would like me to restate a question, hold up the green card. Okay. So, then I think we are ready. Kimberly Bailey is number 1, and so she will make her opening remarks. And she may remain seated or stand, her choice.
Thank you, Terry. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. I know it takes a lot to come out of your homes, but I'd also like to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kimberly Beatty. I'm the Director of Public Safety at Canisius College. I worked with the Buffalo Police Department, where I retired from. I was there for 31 years, and I achieved the rank of Deputy Police Commissioner. While I was with the Buffalo Police Department, please keep in mind that Buffalo is the 2nd largest city in the state of New York. While there, I moved up the ranks from patrol officer to a lieutenant to chief. While I was chief, I commanded the busiest, most violent districts in the city of Buffalo, and I was promoted to Deputy Police Commissioner. While there, I commanded operations and homeland security. I also have served as a police instructor for the past 21 years. Now is the time for a new sheriff. The public doesn't feel safe. The deputies at the sheriff's office, they don't feel safe. Police misconduct is rampant. We have a deplorable jail system in place. Under Sheriff Howard, 32 people have died over the past 16 years. While he was under sheriff, 10 people lost their lives. We need to think about these things when we elect people into office. As sheriff, I will ensure that training and resources are in place for all of the people that work at the Erie County Sheriff's Office. There will be a zero tolerance. I will do zero tolerance for misconduct. Okay, I'll hurry up. I will work closely with our community, and I will improve inmate care. We have to look at the panel and realize that some people sitting up here are not ready for this position. John Garcia has not attained a command rank as a supervisor. I have. Thank you.
I forgot one important part of the rules, and that is that only the TV channels and the league may tape record this session at all. And the league's video recording will be available on our website and our YouTube channel in its entirety. It may only be shown in its entirety, and the TV stations know that they may use portions of this event as long as they follow FCC rules. So I'd ask that everyone turns off your cell phone right now, and the only recording are our TV stations and the league, and Ellen Newmeyer is our videographer for tonight. Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks, sir.
Pardon?
Thanks, sir.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to thank the League of Women.
One more thing.
Yes.
We'd like to get as many questions in as possible tonight, so please hold your applause until each section is finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Reset the clock, please. No. Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters of Buffalo and Niagara for hosting this event. By the turnout, it's important for all voters. My name is John Garcia, and I'm a candidate for the Erie County Sheriff's Office. I'm a first-generation American, came to this country at 3 years old, didn't speak the language until I was 6. This is a great country.
John, you need
Yes,
to talk
ma'am.
into the microphone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. I came to this country at 3 years old with my parents and my siblings. Didn't learn how to speak English until I was 6. This is a great country. We grew up in nothing, but I grew up rich with the love of my family, friends, neighbors, my faith in God, and my love for this country. I went on to graduate from Grand Island High School and received a bachelor's from Buffalo State College. I'm proud to say I served with the Buffalo Police Department for 25 years. I worked the streets of Buffalo. Gang suppression unit, narcotics, homicide, commander of the dignitary protection team, the hostage negotiation team. While negotiating, I was shot February 1st, 2010 in the face. After recovering surgery, I returned to work 10 more years. This is in my blood. This is a passion. This is an honorable profession. After retiring, I went on to work as an investigator with the Erie County Assigned Counsel Bureau and serving those that are indigent people. I'm here as a candidate because I have a passion of public service. It's time to transform the Erie County Sheriff's Office into a 21st century, modern, professional law enforcement agency delivered with fairness, firm, compassion, and empathy. Thank you very much.
Okay, I need help.
Actually, you can pause it. Wait, no, let's turn that off.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ted Denoto. I am a detective lieutenant with the town of Amherst. I'm a detective lieutenant with the town of Amherst Police Department. I have 30 years on the job. I am still working at the town of Amherst. I have obviously been a patrol officer. I was a detective. I was a traffic investigator, and I supervised all those units. I also was in charge of our K-9 unit, our community policing unit, and I'm the commander of our underwater recovery unit right now. I decided to run as an independent after talking with the political parties and finding out that they had no interest in public safety whatsoever. They were interested in how much money I had and how much money I could raise for them. So I came home and told my wife, I'm doing this for the people, as an independent, as a law enforcement officer, the only way I know how to police. I find it funny, and it's just crazy with what's been going on in this political world, and what rings true with me wanting to be an independent is what we had happen yesterday. One of the candidates that should have been here today, who was a conservative, who ran as a Republican, who was once a Democrat, primaried against John, who was a Republican, who was once a Democrat, now is supporting the Democrat. I mean, if you can follow that, then good for you. I can't follow that. And I don't want to follow that political stuff anymore. This is about public safety and public service. And that's why I'm running as an independent. Thank you.
Okay, now we get to the question part. And we start with Kimberly and go down the list, and then the next question will be, John will be the first one. So, what will be your priorities once you are elected?
My priorities at the Erie County Sheriff's Office will be responsible, and accountable leadership. Right now, we don't have anyone running the Erie County Sheriff's Office. We also have to think about inmate care. 32 people have died in custody. When Sheriff Howard, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, when he was the undersheriff, 10 people have died. We have to think about inmate care and mental health. So accountable leadership would be a priority. We also have to do training for our officers and the people that work at the Sheriff's Office. And we have to right-size the Sheriff's Office. Right now we have staffing issues and we have to make those things a priority.
Yes, ma'am. I think I have another sheriff, by the way. I have a 6-point plan, which is transform public safety. We have to mobilize on mental health. We have to stop the surge in violence. We have to combat the opiate epidemic. We have to ensure the public trust and deliver professional jail management. But it starts with the people. They're our most valuable resource, are the men and women, the brave men and women that are working at the Erie County Sheriff's Office, and they do so every day, and they do a great job. And when they go unnoticed, it's because they're doing a great job. They need new leadership. Yes, indeed they do. And I want to be their leader, and we have to remember them. We have to remember their physical health, their mental health. They're our most valuable resource. They need the training, they need the staffing, they need a sheriff walking around, being there. We have to take care of our employees, and they in turn will take care of the public and serve and protect.
My number one priority with the Sheriff's Office is going to be the employees. We have to take care of their mental well-being before we can take care of anybody's well-being, before we can take care of the prisoners at the holding center, at the correctional facility, before we can protect the civilians in the county of Erie. We can't take care of anybody if we can't take care of ourselves. I want to get the pride back. I want to get them understanding that they have a sheriff that's behind them when they need someone behind them, and they have somebody that's going to hold them accountable when they need to be held accountable. I also want to show the town or the county that there's going to be a sheriff that's going to stand up and speak out on everything that happens. So if something happens in the holding center, if something happens on the road, I'm going to let the civilians know, let the public know what's going on, where we're at, and what I'm going to do about it. I'm not going to wait till somebody does their own independent investigation. I will be out there letting the public know what's right and what's wrong.
So question 2 goes first to John Garcia. What is your plan to address the opioid crisis?
Thank you, Terry. The opiate crisis, which started back in the mid-90s when I worked patrol, I would say for every 10 arrests that I made, drug arrests, at the time, 8 were for cocaine, crack cocaine, and then it just flipped. And opiates hit the scene, and now we have fentanyl. Fentanyl is a poison. It's being mixed with cocaine, it's being mixed with heroin. Sometimes there's no heroin in the package whatsoever. We have to go after the people peddling the poison and make a statement. I will investigate every opiate death as a homicide, trace it back to the individual selling that poison, and have them be responsible for that. Because they very well know that what they're selling is poison. A strong interdiction program, a task force with not only Erie County, but our neighboring counties, and going after the poison that's coming into our area. And we have to go into the schools and make the kids aware, not high school, middle school. This is something that's affecting all of us, no matter with the socioeconomic, any area, from Newstead to Sardinia. I'm
actually going to have to mirror a lot of what John just said. I am the commander of the narcotics unit in the town of Amherst, so it's not what I will do, it's what I am doing now. And we do investigate every opiate death, every overdose death, whether it's opiate or not, as a homicide, as a death investigation. I'm sorry. Also, what we're doing is, being that the fentanyl is coming from China, we're setting up a cyber task force to get them in when they bring the fentanyl in through the mail, the post office, working with the postal service to get it before it even gets to the dealer. We're getting ahead of the ball before it gets to us. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's not what I'm going to do. It's what I'm doing now. It's going to be what I continue to do as sheriff.
You wanted to go again?
I have a lot to say about that.
Of course, as Deputy Police Commissioner of the Buffalo Police Department, the Narcotics Division, Homicide, and all of those other investigative units fell under my command. As Deputy Police Commissioner, I ensured that we investigated opioid deaths that happened in the city of Buffalo, and we will always continue to do that at the Sheriff's Department. Okay, I'm sorry. We have to also look at what happens in the holding center and at the Alden Correctional Facility. We have deaths that are also occurring there. We have to put medication-assisted treatment in place. So we have to think about what's happening in our community, do investigations, make arrests, and get the poison, like you mentioned, out of our community. But we also have to look at what happens in our facilities. Thank you.
All right, and this question will go first to Ted Noto. What specific actions will you take to improve conditions and try to end deaths at the Erie County Holding Center?
What I'm going to plan on doing at the holding center is I have a whole mental health plan coming out, but the gist of it is I'm going to hire mental health professionals right at intake so we can divide people into 3 categories. Those with mental health issues, those with substance abuse issues, and those that are criminal. They'll all be taken to specific places that they need to be to handle the specific issue that they need, so they're not all together. They are not being exploited by the people who are a criminal element. I'm also looking to make outward locations like stabilization centers to take those people away from that area. I'm looking at taking a look at the infrastructure, and is the building conducive to having people in it to protect them from harming themselves, and remodeling the holding center and making it safe for them.
What specific actions will you take to improve conditions and try to end deaths at the Erie County Holding Center?
Thank you. Last week, or maybe a week and a half ago, I attended a 2-day training, Suicide Prevention in Police Lockups in County Jails. A lot of great information received there about treatment for our incarcerated people. We have to look at staffing issues. We have to make sure our incarcerated people get what they need. We have to also first remember that they are people and they don't deserve to die just because they're in a lockup, holding center, pen. We also have to look at our staff and make sure that they can recognize when there's a problem and make sure they have resources. So that's what we need to do to straighten out our jails as far as opioid crisis.
May I start here? Thank you. So just so you understand the process with the Erie County Holding Center, when somebody gets arrested somewhere in Erie County, they're processed at the Erie County Holding Center. So first and foremost, what we have to do is work with our towns, our villages, and our City of Buffalo Police Department, along with Lackawanna, ensure that this person that's coming into the Erie County Holding Center is stabilized. Because it's called a correctional facility. It's not ECMC. Once they're there, they have to be screened properly with a deputy and a mental health professional. Afterwards, it's like a triage. Is there an underlying mental health condition? Is it opiate abuse? What's the issue? Are they injured in some way or other? So therefore, what we can provide is the proper medication once they're in there, be it Suboxone or methadone for those suffering from withdrawals, or therapy and medication for those with mental health issues. There's a lot to be done.
Okay, so now we're back to Kimberly as number one. Closing either the Alden Correctional Facility or the holding center is being currently discussed. Which of these do you favor be remaining open and why?
Thank you. As in everything, first, as the sheriff, I need to get in there and look around and see what the heck is going on. I know the Erie County Holding Center is an older facility and it has some structural problems, so we need to look at that. We need to put everything on the table and weigh our options and see what's best for our community. I know right now if we close down the Erie County Holding Center that people have to have transportation to go out to the Alden Correctional Facility. I don't want to see anyone lose a job. I don't want to displace anyone in our community. So I would hope that when I get in, that I have an opinion with the legislature on what happens with the Erie County Holding Center and the correctional facility.
Thank you. So in the last couple of years, we've taken a huge hit in Erie County and around the world with COVID. So to make an assessment of the which facility to close down, we're not in a place right now. If we have another outbreak, we need both facilities to ensure the health of the incarcerated people and the staff there. I would like to see what brings, what 2022 brings. We have the different bail reform, parole reform. Are there going to be less incarcerated people? Is it going to go back to the numbers? Because we were talking about overcrowding 3 years ago. So I would like to eventually make the Erie County Holding Center a place where individuals go to and get those life skills, medications, therapy, whatever, before they go back out into the community, and they will be better prepared to deal with whatever issues that they may have.
Well, I know this is controversial with some people, but I have talked to engineers that have inspected the holding center, and they've told me right out that it needs to be closed. My consideration on that too is I believe that the sheriff's office needs to be a one-campus place. Out in Alden, we have plenty of land for building new buildings. We have old buildings that are sitting empty that we can have as our stabilization centers. And we can bring all the units that are all scattered across the city and the county to one campus. And that's how you can run a sheriff's department. That's why the sheriff's department lacks the leadership, because nobody knows where anybody is. Under my guise, everybody will be under my umbrella. I will have knowledge of where everybody is. We will have daily meetings. It's not anybody driving in from the city, driving around. They will be at one campus. That's how we're going to have a sheriff's office that's professional and accountable.
All right, and John Garcia will be the first to answer the next question. Given the rise of hate, racism, anti-Semitism, and white supremacy, how will you ensure the safety of houses of worship in Erie County?
Thousands of, I'm sorry.
Houses of worship.
Houses of worship, yes, ma'am. As a first-generation American, I'm well aware of the underlying racist tones in some people in the community. Let me tell you the racial makeup of the Erie County Sheriff's Office. We have 147 grown deputies. 1 black male, 1 Native American male, 12 white females, the rest white males. I come from a department City of Buffalo, diverse in every way. From a city, diverse in every way. We need cultural awareness within the Erie County Sheriff's Office. But the question is, how are we going to protect community, different faith groups? We are going to meet with them. We are going to meet with everyone. We're going to see when they have events, when people need us most. What are their concerns? Open door policy. The Erie County Sheriff's Office will be open to everyone to come to the table.
This was a pretty straightforward question. How am I going to protect these people? And this is as straightforward as I can be. I will talk to the leaders of all the different houses of worship, of all the different religions. I will find out, I will have a documented schedule of all their special holidays, all their special events, and we will provide the security that they need when they need it and they're not around. We will keep in touch, an intelligence group that will keep in touch all over the country of any type of assaults on these types of places of worship, and we'll make sure that we beef up the security then. It's just that simple. That's police work. And that's why I keep saying I'm not a politician. I'm a cop trying to do the right thing. I know how to police. You ask me how I'm going to protect, I'm going to give you a simple answer. That's what we're going to do.
Thank you. I mentioned earlier, I've been in training for 21 years, a police instructor. I am ingrained in this Erie County community. I have done community outreach, community presentations, and I will still continue to do that for public safety. I've done active shooter training in some of our churches. I'll continue to do that. I'll show up personally. So we have to do community education, community outreach, and we have to be there for every single person that we serve and protect. We can't pick and choose. We have to be there for everybody. And people that live in Erie County will know that I will continue to do that for what's best for our people. Thank you.
So this question will go to Ted first. What is your opinion of farming out union work to the private sector and why?
Well, you'd have to actually give me specific work because I don't believe in farming out police work to anybody but police officers. I don't believe in putting correctional officers anywhere but where correctional officers be. It's that simple. If a job needs a police officer, it gets a police officer, not anybody else.
Well, from what I've come to understand, the Erie County Sheriff's Office has already been doing that to the tune of $280,000 to John Garcia. It has to stop. We have to look at our community. We cannot farm out police work. We have to make sure that corrections officers are doing the job and road patrols are doing their jobs. Even if we're talking about civil processing, we have to make sure that the right people are doing the right job and there is not any more corruption in the Erie County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, farm it out. Farm it out. Yeah. No, this was for my opponent Kim not understanding the ground rules about personal attacks. We do, I shouldn't say we do. The Erie County Sheriff's Office does farm out work. It's a reserve division. It's citizens like yourself that volunteer their work. We have retired law enforcement officers that are in charge of the Explorers program. We have people that assist with aviation, with the Marine Division, because we have hundreds of miles of lakefront and riverfront civilians. We have the Mounted Patrol that a lot of people see at events. They maintain the horses, they feed the horses. We have at Erie County Fairs, we see people, sheriff's deputies, which aren't sheriff deputies, they're civilians, doing child ID. So it does exist. And they fall within the Erie County Sheriff's Office, then they will be held accountable as everybody else.
And okay, this will be, I think, the last question. So, how are you qualified for this job? Kimberly.
Thanks for asking again. I've served in law enforcement for 34 years. Like I mentioned when I walked in the door, I'm the Director of Public Safety at Canisius College. I served as the Deputy Police Commissioner of the Buffalo Police Department, a command position where some people on this panel know me from and worked for me. So I have the experience, the skills. I graduated from Canisius College. I served as the chief of a district besides some of our local police departments. I've dealt with violent crime. I've dealt with the community, on education, anything else across the spectrum. I've been in management for at least 15 years. So I'm prepared today to take over the Erie County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. I could give you a shiny resume with a lot of certifications, awards, and whatever. My colleagues in law enforcement have all endorsed me. Do you wonder why I'm the only candidate here that's endorsed by law enforcement? Both unions within the state police. All three unions that I will be working with on January 1st at the Erie County Sheriff's Office. Our former union at the Buffalo Police Department, Tonawanda PD, Cheektowaga PD, police conference in New York that encompasses every single police union, the retired officers union. I am qualified. My colleagues know it. I've done the work. I haven't sat in an office. I am a cop's cop. I will lead by example. People follow me because I'm a leader. Leaders aren't appointed by political officials. They're made out on the street.
Like I said, I've been a police officer for 30 years. I've been a supervisor for the last 14 years. What you're going to hear from me is not I did, I was, I were. I am. I am still working. I am still there. I am still law enforcement. I have not stopped. I have been working through all the issues that we have today, all the defund the police, all the raise the age, all the bail reform. I didn't read about that in the paper like my opponents have. I've worked it. I've been there, I've been through it. I tell people, if you want to get on a plane and go to Florida with your family, do you get on a plane with the pilot that flies the plane or that reads about flying the plane? Because I'm the only one that's been flying the plane. I'm not learning how to do this over again. I've already been there. I know how to do it. If you add, I've taught over 1,200 police officers in the last 10 years. You ask any police officer who the proper sheriff of Erie County is, anybody with 12 years or under will tell you Ted DeNovo.
All right, and for closing statements, we will work in reverse order. So I'll pass this back to Ted, and you each have 2 minutes.
Well, I'm just going to repeat again. I'm the only independent candidate here. That means I have not been compromised by political parties. I have not been compromised by donations or unions. I can make the choices myself for the right reasons for all of Erie County. Doesn't matter what side of the street you stand on. I will not make my decision on an affiliation. I will make my decision on what's right or wrong after 30 years of experience of law enforcement. Nobody has compromised me. Nobody has bought me. I will make my decision that way as the leader that I have always been for 30 years.
After 16 years, we're ready for a change. There's no incumbent. You have the 3 candidates here. I feel I'm the most qualified by my police history, by what I've done on the job, but more importantly, because people are going to follow me within the Erie County Sheriff's Office. I'm prepared. It's in my blood. And come January 1st, $0 to the taxpayers. We will make improvements immediately. I will allow clergy to visit incarcerated people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll change the scheduling for the Erie County Sheriff's Office deputies to make it more conducive for their home life and also so they're refreshed to serve the people. We are going to make sure that the staffing levels are proper to ensure, again, the safety of those working there and those that are incarcerated. I think it's an easy choice. Law enforcement throughout Western New York State have endorsed me. I'm not a political person, I'm a cop. I'm a cop and I'm a leader, and I'm ready to take the Sheriff's Office into the 21st century and make it the professional, modern office it should be. We're celebrating 200 years, and I want to make it and leave it in a better place for the next 200 years. Thank you, God bless everyone.
Well, I've stood up here at least 4 or 5 times and told you I'm the most experienced person sitting on this panel. Can you hear me now? 34 years in law enforcement. To be exact, last week I celebrated 35 years. I've been out in the community. I'm a staple in Erie County. I have not compromised myself. Anyone who is endorsed by our current sheriff, Tim Howard, should not be in office. To endorse, thank you, should not be in office. If you elect a person that is sitting on this stage that is endorsed by Tim Howard, that's just 4 more years of Tim Howard. More years of death, more years of mismanagement. We can't do that in Erie County. We have a chance right now to fix things, and we have to do it. The clear choice is me for Erie County Sheriff, Kim Beattie. And I'm not done. I've been endorsed by over a dozen unions. These are the people that we work for, the people that we serve and protect. The police unions, those endorsements came while I was not in the race, and they came quick, and I couldn't say they came with a fair opportunity. But I'll tell you one thing, when I'm the sheriff in Erie County, everything will be on the straight and narrow and fair. Thank you.
I'm sure that the applause is for all 3 of you, and because people listen to what I said and wait till the end. So, Erie County Sheriff candidates may leave the stage, and would you please have the candidates for Town Council and Aurora.